Milo Yiannopoulos is a brilliant public speaker, writer, debater, and homosexual. Though, despite his obvious talent for complex verbiage and imagery, he has an affinity for the sensational, the controversial, which tends to polarize. Above all, Milo is a performer. Unapologetically, he is a jester, a troll. But this wasn't always the case. A brief overview of his history would reveal his escapades as a video game writer, a technology journalist, and, frankly, his utter lack of controversial compulsion. So what was the driving force behind his massive shift in focus? With the advent of Gamergate, what drove him to take the culturally liberal angle that shot him into the limelight? Was it the veritable jackpot of potential sycophantic fans who would follow him in his crusade against political correctness? Or was it a product of genuine epiphany? We may never know.
You know, and you can call us misogynistic harassers on the internet if you want to. All we want is these feminist lunatics to get out of gaming, and for people to leave the creators alone to do what they want, and for, you know, for journalists to start reporting honestly about games and stop hating on their own audiences, or just fuck off. You know.
Many would consider Milo a borderline sycophantic Trump supporter. Having listened to many tens of hours of his lectures, never once have I heard of a negative aspect of the Trump administration or campaign that wasn't immediately overshadowed by a positive one. How can Milo be a self-professed libertarian, but an ardent supporter of perhaps the least libertarian Republican candidate in modern history? Does his hatred for political correctness and the Democratic agenda in general supersede his commitment to libertarian principle? Why is he silent on all of the anti-libertarian things Trump has done, like TrumpCare, which seems to be a vie for public appeal instead of an attempt to slowly withdraw government from the healthcare industry, as Republicans have been promising for so long? Milo's success has been entirely a result of outrage culture and the fact that tearing SJWs to shreds is intellectual child's play. Milo nearly needed to drop the curtain on the college left's attempt at viewpoint discrimination, segregation, and the like in order for the snowflakes not only to melt, but to destroy hundreds of thousands of dollars of campus property in the process. Yiannopoulos, yes, is extremely adept when it comes to both politics and popular culture. This does not change the fact that his quest to be controversial, to employ theatrics to rile up his own constituents, often gets in the way of his underlying message of principle.
All I care about is free speech and free expression. I want people to be able to do and say anything.
You're wearing a hijab in the United States of America. What is wrong with you?
Following the massive hits he took concerning his pedophilia comments, Milo has announced the launch of his own private organization and his resignation from Breitbart. Considering that his bombastic antics and frequent theatrics are a detriment to the integrity of his arguments, could we see a more straightforward, principled approach from Milo in the near future? I would offer that no, we won't. Should Milo resort to being less volatile, or, God forbid, placating, his career would go down the tubes. Because of the massive strikes he took during the pedophilia scandal, Yiannopoulos' only hope is to stoke outrage. Retaliatory solidarity among conservatives is the only thing keeping his main constituency alive. If Milo were to abandon his antics, this dedicated fanbase would slowly wither and die, as Milo becomes utterly unsensational, utterly boring, utterly normal.